So we're going to start with the next chapter from a supplementary reader, that is The Thief's Story. Now, when we do, read about or hear about criminals, we always wonder that why did they fall on this path? Why did they take to this activities? What were the circumstances that forced them? Right? So sometimes, yes, so people there, maybe they are in this very difficult situation, maybe stealing something or robberies and all that. You have pickpockets and all of this, one thing leading to another. Now here in this chapter, it is about giving a second chance to a person who has been cheating and maybe committing little crimes, right? So we'll discuss about the nature of crime and about criminals as we read this story. Because the person we're going to read about, he is not exactly a hardcore criminal, right? So maybe he's just fallen into this habit. Maybe, yes, keeping things with him and, pinching money here and there. And he's fallen into that habit. Now, how is he going to come out of this? And then we're going to discuss one very important thing, that is, should criminals be given a second chance to change themselves, to make them better human beings, right? So that they become law-abiding citizens. This chapter is written by Ruskin Bond, and in your class 9th also you've had a chapter. And I think as we have been reading stories, right, from our childhood, there's always been a chapter or so by Ruskin Bond, isn't it? Yes, if you remember that monkey story, which was it in class 9th you had? What was that? Yes, so that was by Ruskin Bond. Yes. So we have, Ruskin Bond, very popular writer, favorite among children. And I think so the way he writes, he talks about Dehradun, he talks about the hills, he talks about all these beautiful things here, right? So yes, we start off with the chapter. This chapter, it is about, as I told you, that sometimes in our innocence, we have blind faith, blind trust on people. And what if they take advantage of that trust? What if they cheat you? Right? So here it is a young boy we're talking about. And the main, you can see the character here, we have Anil. So he meets this young boy and he's completely, impressed by him and how he becomes a part of his life. He starts working for him. But does he really keep the faith? How does he cheat Anil in the long run? I was still a thief when I met Anil. So the narrator here, he's a thief and he's openly admitting it. And though only 15, I was an experienced and fairly successful hand. Right, so here a child, you can say young boy of 15, and he says I was a thief. And he was quite successful and he was experienced. Do you think because he had made many attempts of, robbery and stealing, that is what made him even more confident? He thought that, okay, I wasn't caught this time, so I will try again. Yes, so he does say that he was successful in that and he was very confident about his skill. Anil was watching a wrestling match when I approached him. He was about 25, a tall, lean fellow, and he looked easygoing, kind, and simple enough for my purpose. I hadn't had much luck of late and thought I might be able to get into the young man's confidence. See, he's not only a thief, but he is also a great observer of people. He's able to find or, able to assess what these people look like. So yes, a simple person, a clever person, and he was watching Anil, right? So Anil was there. What was Anil doing? Anil was watching a wrestling match. And Anil was about 25 and he is only 15 years. And he looked easygoing. Easygoing means he seems to be quite careless. He's not a very, a clever looking person. You look a bit of a wrestler yourself, I said. A little flattery helps in making friends. So who is he talking to? He approached Anil because he felt this person looks quite simple enough and I can fool him, I can cheat him. A little flattery. What is flattery? What is flattery? Praising someone? Yes, and sometimes you want to make friends with someone, you want to be in somebody's good books, you start flattering them, right? So do you, he replied, which put me off for a moment because at the time I was rather thin. So he got, what did he get? The reply that even you look like a wrestler. And he's very surprised because he was quite thin and not very well built and muscular like the wrestlers are. Well, I said modestly, I do wrestle a bit. What's your name? Hari Singh, I lied. I took a new name every month. That kept me ahead of the police and my former employers. After this introduction, Anil talked about the well-oiled wrestlers who were grunting, lifting, and throwing each other about. I didn't have much to say. Anil walked away. I followed casually. Yes, so what do we know about the two characters here? Yes, who are the two characters in this story? Who are the two characters? One is Anil and the other is Hari Singh. Yes. And was Hari Singh his real name? No. So what have we learned about Hari Singh? He's 15. He's a thief. He openly admits it. He's a thief. He's quite clever. He's a smart person and he's a good observer of human behavior. And he notices that, see, the man that he sees, Anil, he's 25, but he looks quite, simple and easy going. And he thinks that he could be his next target. So naturally, people who are their criminals and see a 15-year-old boy, that means he's had a lot of practice. He's quite successful. He's very confident about himself. And so he has approached that man. He started conversation with him by flattering him. Yes, so he knows how to attract them. He knows how to talk to them. And he knows that how he's going to do his next theft. Okay? Yes. So why did he lie? Why did he tell him his false name? Because he was already wanted by the police and wherever he went, he had a new name, right? So the police would not be able to catch him and even his employers were not even aware about who he was, about his true identity, okay? So Anil walked away. I followed casually. Hello again, he said. I gave him my most appealing smile. I want to work for you, I said, but I can't pay you. He said, like, he thought that, okay, I'll go into his house, I'll gain his confidence, and then I will rob him. But Anil is very, of course, it looks to be simple, but he's quite clever. And he says that, see, I can't pay you. I thought that over for a minute. Perhaps I misjudged my man. So he says, I can't let this opportunity go. I asked, can you feed me? Can you cook? I can cook. I lied again. If you can cook, then maybe I can feed you. So he's just lies and lies. He's lying about his name, he's lying that he can cook, right? So he says that, yes, if you can cook, I can be able to feed you. He took me to his room over the Jamna sweet shop and told me I could sleep on the balcony. But the meal I cooked that night must have been terrible because Anil gave it to a stray dog and told me to be off. But I just hung around, smiling in my most appealing way, and he couldn't help laughing. So see, Anil has caught his lie. Anil asked him to cook for him. And what did he do? He made, a very terrible meal that they had to give it to the stray dog. But yes, Hari is saying he just stood there laughing and see that I can't do anything. I don't know how to cook. I lied to you. Later, he patted me on the head and said, never mind, he teach me to cook. Right? So he's not said anything to him. He's not annoyed with that man. He also taught me to write my name and said he would soon teach me to write whole sentences and to add numbers. I was grateful. I knew that once I could write like an educated man, there would be no limit to what I could achieve. What do you think this line means? There would be no limit to what I could achieve. Yes, so Anil is going to teach him how to read and write. So first he's teaching him his name, and then he's going to teach him sentences, and then he will finally, going to teach him long sentences. So how is he going to use that? He's going to do more robberies. How is he going to use his education then to do robberies? He's learned to read and write. He's become literate, yes. So how is he going to use that? Cheating more people? So right now, what are the things that we know about Hari Singh? He's a cheat. He's a liar. Yes, so he can, of course, he's convinced Anil that he could be of use to him, but Anil has found out that he doesn't even know how to cook. And in spite of that, Anil has not sent him away, right? Yes, so he could fool more people, he could cheat more people, he would use his literacy now to cheat and do more robberies, right? So he seems to be very, you can say, determined about his professional skills, and he wants to use his literacy for that also. Yeah, he's greedy. Of course, he's greedy. He wants more and more money, right? And he's surprised because Anil is saying that he can't pay him, but he's staying there, right? And maybe I might be able to do something over here. So he's saying that once I get an education, there would be no limit to what I could achieve. I could do many things, forgeries and frauds and cheating people. He could use that. It was quite pleasant working for Anil. I made the tea in the morning and then would take my time buying the day's supplies, usually making a profit of about ₹1 a day. I think he knew I made a little money this way, but he did not seem to mind. How did he make the profit of about ₹1 a day? Right, so he made him tea in the morning, then he would go to buy the day's supplies. So what would he cheat about? He would lie about the money that he had spent. So he would just keep a rupee for him. So every day he would do that. And maybe Anil was aware, but Anil did not say anything. I don't know why he is allowing such a person to stay, isn't it? Would you let such a person be there if you know that person is a liar and he does not know how, of course, he's taking money from you every day. Anil made money by fits and starts. So even Anil did not have a regular source of income, right? So by fits and starts, it's not regular, all of a sudden, abruptly, right? So he would borrow 1 week, lend the next. So for money for him was there. 1 week he would have money, the next week he would not have. Sometimes he would borrow money, and when he had money, he would lend it. He kept worrying about his next check, but as soon as it arrived, he would go out and celebrate. It seems he wrote for magazines. A queer way to make a living. So what did he do? He was a writer. And yes, earlier times, it was very difficult to be a writer. They did not have a fixed income. And whenever he would write an article, and it was not necessary that he would get the money very regularly. So it was not a regular source of income that he had. So why did Anil think, the thief here, Hari Singh, why did he think it was a queer way to make a living? Naturally, you want a living which gives you regular source of income. But what about Anil? He never had enough money. And when he did get the check, he kept on waiting for it. So he would just go out and celebrate. So was Anil really a money-minded person? Was Anil a money-minded person? No, he was not. Right? So he was not really after money. One evening, he came home with a small bundle of notes, saying he had just sold a book to a publisher. At night, I saw him tuck the money under the mattress. So one day, Anil came back, and what did he have? He had a bundle of notes, and he said, I've just sold a book to a publisher. So his book's going to get published, right? And at night, I saw him tuck the money under the mattress. So where did he keep the money? Under the mattress. Was that a safe place to keep the money? Was it? And what about his behavior towards money? Yes, What was his behavior here towards money? He was very casual about it. He did not give it much importance, although he kept on waiting for his paycheck and all. But when the money came, he was very casual about it. I had been working for Anil for almost a month. And apart from cheating on the shopping, had not done anything in my line of work. What is the line of work? My line of work. What was it? Yes? What was the line of work? Robbery. So he had not done anything. Yes, a little bit of cheating here and there he had done, right? So keeping money for himself from the shopping. But apart from that, he had not done anything. I had every opportunity for doing so. Anil had given me a key to the door and I could come and go as I pleased. He was the most trusting person I had ever met. So he could have robbed him many times. But the thing was, yes, there was not enough money in the house also. And Anil had given him the key to the door. So he could come and go to his home and in his room whenever he wanted to. He was the most trusting person I had ever met. And that is why it was so difficult to rob him. See, he's also talking about his own problem that Anil was there, such a trusting person. And how could I rob him? It is easy to rob a greedy man because he can be afforded to be robbed. A greedy man, he wants more and more. He's not parting with his money. But it's difficult to rob a careless man. A careless man will never, sometimes he doesn't even notice he's been robbed. And that takes all the pleasure out of the work. See, first he says his line of work, right? As if it's a very professional job to do, robberies and cheating people here. Then he says it takes all the pleasure out of the work. So what's the fun of stealing if people don't even come to know? So greedy people, it's very easy for them, like to cheat them, to rob them. They'll be aware of it because they're so concerned about the money. But people like Anil who are very careless with the money, they won't even notice that where his money has gone. Well, it's time I did some real work. I told myself, I'm out of practice. And if I don't take the money, he'll only waste it on his friends. After all, he doesn't even pay me. It's time I did some real work. What do you think is the real work? What real work is he referring to? Yes, what is the real work he's referring to? What's the real work Anil is talking about? About stealing money. I told myself I'm out of practice. Out of practice? Yes, he's not stolen for so many days now. And so he might get out of that skill that he has acquired. And what justification does he give? That if I don't steal his money, he'll spend it on his friends. After all, he doesn't even pay me. Yes, so what do you think now Hari Singh is going to do? What is Hari Singh going to do? Yes? He's going to steal the money, right? So do you think he has any kind of attachment with Anil? Does he even care that they see this man is giving me food and he's given me a place to live? Is he even, like concerned about that? No, he's not. So does he's there, like thinking that, see, this man has money and if I don't take it, what is he going to do? He's going to spend it on his friends. So I might as well take that money, right? So does he have any morals or principles, this person? Does he? No. And do you think thieves have any honor and principles? Do you think? They do or they don't? So look at him, he's going to, yes, he's going to rob the hand that feeds him. So the person who's been taking care of him, he's going to cheat on him only.